Hi, Professor. My name is Cyan Sullivan, and this is my video 1 over our little book, Medical Apartheid. Hopefully that's how you say it. So, as being a fellow African-American, I'm biracial. I'm Caucasian and African-American as well. And reading this book was heart-wrenching, to say the least. Like, it was just a lot for me. And I'm sure back in the day, it was just like horrible. Nice to meet you, Professor. What resonated with me during part 1 of our reading is, or I wrote down some notes too. Chapter 1 was over Southern discomfort. And, you know, this chapter 1 was like a little insight on what buying slaves was like. So they were sold at grocery stores and marts, and before they were sold, they would receive a doctor's checkup before being transported to the owner. See, before this, I didn't know how like slavery and slave owners worked, so this was like interesting to me that, you know, slaves were sold at the corner of a grocery store, just like, you know, souvenirs or something like that. But what really also stuck out to me was, I believe it was chapter 5. Chapter 5 was basically describing the whole like experimentation on blacks. Like, they would dig up dead bodies and experiment on them and dissect them to study them even further. And that was just crazy to me, because in the book, African Americans like expressed that they were afraid after death even to be dissected on, because they, you know, they just want to rest in peace. Like, they don't want their bodies to be bothered, or, you know, they want to rest in peace. So, and also another interesting chapter that I read was the last chapter, and it was over like syphilis and like the syphilis study that went on for like 40 years. And I knew syphilis was like an STD, but like I didn't know like the in-depth like stages and the Tuskegee study that they did. In the chapter, it said syphilis did the worst damage in whites to the neurological system and brains of whites. And it was also thought to wreak its worst havoc on the cardiovascular system of blacks. And then in the 1940s, they finally discovered the cure for syphilis, which is like just a shot of penicillin, as we know nowadays. But even after they found a cure, they would still like experiment on blacks. And that's just, the treatment in this book was like severe treatment. I was like cringing my face when I was reading through these chapters, because it's horrible. But it's also very interesting at the same time because of what other people, mainly whites, thought about African Americans and blacks. So thank you. This is my video 1 submission. Nice to meet you.